Welcome to the Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast with your host, legendary powerlifter and strength athlete, Chad Ikes. For most, the journey of strength starts in the gym, but should inevitably expand through all aspects of life. Join us as we discuss all things strength. Now, here's your host, Chad Ikes.
Hey people, today we got a special guest, but as you all know, I'm pretty straight up and honest about everything. This guest I did an interview with last Wednesday, and we had an awesome interview. About an hour and a half into it, I looked down and it wasn't recording. So, my fuck up again. I think I just didn't press the button or something. So now I'm staring at my thing, making sure it's recording. And today we have with us again, that you don't get to listen to, or didn't get to listen to, the bench monster himself, Ryan Kennelly. If you don't know who Ryan is, I really don't know. There's something wrong because this guy was putting up insane numbers. And when I got into powerlifting, I think we kind of got in very similar times. Maybe he was a little before me, but by the time I got in there, he was just benching these insane amounts. And I remember getting to do some meets with him. And so I kind of got to get in with him and look up to him from the beginning. And then as we were both growing, we ended up both being in the highest level competitions, not against each other, but with them. And just to see his journey and see him taking like these benches and just going up and up and up and up was absolutely crazy. So Ryan, thank you for joining us again.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
And by the way, he was actually pretty cool. I go, Ryan, fuck, I don't think it recorded. And he's like, yeah, okay, we can do it again.
Yeah.
Because it's twice now I've done this actually.
It shit happens, man.
So when did you start? Like, tell me about your childhood, how you got into powerlifting and kind of when you started.
Childhood, go back to like grade school. I was a great soccer player, and I did that up until 7th grade. Tried out for football. Didn't really have my growth spurt until late in high school. So I was just a scrawny kid who could kind of run fast but I couldn't take a hit. You know, I wasn't durable enough, to play football. So I kind of opted, to stick with soccer. But going into high school, we had a weight room there in high school, and there was a record board on the wall in the high school weightlifting room. And I remember my sophomore year, we went in there, and I don't know, we were just bench pressing, and I bench pressed 135, and it took everything, to do it, because I only weighed 135 and I was like 5'4", very scrawny kid. So I wanted to have a big bench press. That was kind of the goal, and have big arms, because I was a big WWF wrestling fan, and, Hulk Hogan and all these big, strong people with 24-inch pythons. And I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. Have the biggest bench in the world and the biggest arms. So kind of set me in motion to try to get my bench press numbers up. And over the junior and senior year in high school, I was able to grow to 5'11" and 180 my senior year. So I had a real good growth spurt there, but I didn't fill out. I was narrow shouldered and still, scrawny. And after high school, I went into the gym and going to college, working full time, trying to find time to go to the gym. And I thought you just bench every day. And that was in 1993. And I just 5-6 days a week, just come in and do all upper body every day and bench. Didn't know any better. And there was a record board inside of that little family fitness center. They had an in-house meet there, squat, bench, and deadlift. And I was like, where's the bench press at? Who's number one? And the guy that had number one, he was a kind of a cocky guy, nice guy, but he thought he was the cock of the walk in the gym. And I was like, I set out like, I'm going to beat him. Well, long story short, they had 2 in-house meets there, and the guy that I was trying to beat was the head judge of the contest. So I felt he held me to a higher standard and made me hold the bar at my chest a little longer, because he knew I was gunning for his record.
Right.
So I said, these in-house meets are great. And then we had a Gold's Gym that came to town in 1996, and we decided to head over to Gold's Gym and train at Gold's Gym. And when I went over there, I quickly found out if I do, more squatting and lower body stuff that my bench press would go up. And sure enough, it did. And my first pro meet was a WABDL meet in May 17th, 1997 in Springfield, Oregon, put on by Gus Rethwich at the time. And I went out there and I had a blast shirt, which was the entry level Inzer shirt. And it wasn't even made for me. It was one I got from a guy in the gym who was probably 25 pounds bigger than me. So it was one that we could put on, I don't know what I got out of it. I'm not going to sit here and say I got 5 pounds out of it, or I don't know, but it just, it didn't do much. Anyway, I did, I think that first pro meet I opened with 407. I did a 440 and a 457. I missed 473 all at 220. And I had set a Washington State record. And I was like, oh my God, I'm a Washington State record holder. And that's kind of where it all started. When I got that certificate, the plaque that I was a state record holder, that was kind of this is awesome, man. I'm setting records. And I was like, well, who's the best in the world? Because, time went on. I think 9 months later, I was still lifting in WABDL, and I had set a world record, like a junior world record. I remember because I was a junior, which was 20 to 23 or something. I don't remember what age. And I remember, okay, I'm a world record holder. Like, I'm the best in the world at junior, this age group. And then Gus Rethwich would have a pamphlet that he would hand out to lifters at his meet. And inside that pamphlet, it had a records board in there and names like Ken Lane, Anthony Clark, Chris Confessior, and and I'm like, these guys are 700 pounds. Yeah, and I did like a 512 bench at 242, and I'm a junior world record holder. I said, no, these are the world record holders that are doing 770, 750. These are the people you have to beat. And I knew that that was what I had to do, and I had no idea how I was going to do it. I just figured, I really committed myself. I was still I was at the age, where we're still partying on the weekends a little bit, but I used to party every night, drink 40 ounces and run around the street and chase people down. And, well, it's a lot to, that's a separate story, but, I didn't really, I actually quit drinking in December of 1997 because I said, man, maybe if I quit drinking, my bench will go up. And that's when I did my 512 at 242 and quit drinking. 2.5 months later, I did a 551 at 250 body weight. And that was an eye opener. Yeah, not drinking. And I was like, I'm never going to drink again. So I just made this just magical jump. And then sure enough, the meet after that, I did a 617 at like 257 or something. And I'm like, this is unreal. That's
a big jump for changing one thing like that.
Well, when I said I was drinking on the weekends, and it was Friday, Saturday, but it wasn't just sipping, and it was drink, man. Yeah. So I was just all the week's worth of hard work and then shit canned it on Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
But found out if I just quit drinking and focus and put everything I have into this and try to get better. There was no internet. There was Powerlifting USA was your source for what in the very back of the book or a magazine. It had each month the top 135, 242, 308, and you waited till you got to your weight class and see where you are. I remember I was 308, and I remember Glenn Chabot was number one.
Yes.
And I think Bill Crawford was probably in there, and I was like 13 or something with a 650, and I was like, oh my God, get to number one, and number one, that's where you want to be. And I just went, I just put everything I had into it. I didn't half-ass anything, and I tried to read every Flex magazine, Muscle magazine, try to figure out how bodybuilders are training. Maybe that's how you put on muscle, and that'll transfer in the bench. There was nobody helping me. There was no Louis Simmons at the time. I was out here in the backwoods of Washington State trying to figure out how to do this. And I'm
going to interrupt you here for a second. I'm really fascinated with what makes top athletes, and being around so many and getting to talk to so many and like having so many that are friends. I've always looked like the training's different. The theories are always a little different. The nutrition might be a little different.
Right.
The common ground I've come back to is the mentality.
Right.
And you're telling me this story. Like, if you guys don't know Ryan was fucking massive. And Ryan was never fat. He was always fairly lean.
Just big.
And just big.
Yeah.
But you heard him. He was like 100 and something pounds in high school. And basically a little guy to go, hey, I'm gonna be this WW. I'm gonna have these arms. I'm gonna be one of the best benchers in the world. Have you ever stopped and thought about, like, what the fuck on earth made you even think that you could do that?
I didn't think I could. I remember when I opened Powerlifting USA in 1993, and I saw Kinley and Anthony Clark in an Inzer advertisement, and I saw their numbers, and I didn't think, steroids never crossed. All I knew was, if these human beings can do this, and can I be one of those human beings? And I didn't realize how important genetics played. I think that was one of my big key factors to gaining the weight and getting as big as I could, because both mom and dad were heavy set people, big bone people. And that worked as an advantage for me to get up to 356 pounds.
Yeah, but I mean, you chase this dream. There had to be some part of you that said, I think I can do that. I'm going to try this.
Yeah. When was that? I never really looked past the next meet. I would do a meet. I would do what I did there. And then I'd say, where's the next meet? Let's get back and train. And I think it was honestly what the eye-opening meet that made me a believer that I could do this was in June of 2000. It was a WABDO meet in, I think, Salem, Oregon. And I went down there and I tried some different things. I was getting smarter with the supplementation, the eating, and technique, and how to wear a denim shirt at the time. Mm-hmm. And I did a 650 opener, a 705, a 722, and a 733 that day. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I rolled off the bench on that 733, because I was totally fatigued. It just went up so slow, but I locked it out and got it.
Right.
That day, that was an eye opener. I was like, okay, because I think at the time, don't quote me, you fact finders out there, but 733 bench in June of 2000 was probably top 7. I was somewhere in there.
It was pretty high up there.
Crawford had, 750, Bill Crawford, and Ken Lane, Anthony Clark. Confessior, I think, was 7 something, and I was like, I'm not too far away from the being the best in the world. And we knew Anthony Clark, and then I believed that he was the first man to bench 800 pounds. So I was like, I got to do 802. And I was like, it's not that far away. I said, if I keep going like I'm going, I think I can do this.
So would you say that you kind of even when you started, even though maybe you weren't thinking I'm going to be one of the best in the world, you kept pursuing it and you kept pushing it.
Right. I had no doubt.
So was it kind of like, I don't know how close I can get to this. I'm just going to keep trying and see what happens.
I didn't think like that. I just, each meet, I was making progress. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'd go up 20 pounds, or I go up 40 pounds, or I get a new shirt, get a tighter shirt. At some point, in 2001, the Westside guys were cutting the back of their denims. Mm-hmm. That was a game changer. I learned how to get the neckline pulled down and do things, adjust the equipment to get more out of it, more carryover.
I think it's also interesting how, like, for me, when I was coming up, like, I had no business thinking I could be competing with the best in the world. But right. I did. I can do this. Like, when I committed to powerlifting in like 99, and I go, you know what? I think I can be good at this. I think I can be on a world stage. And I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do it, but I'm going to give it all I got. And we're going to see what happens.
Right.
And then, like, the better and better I got, the more and more confident I got that, hey, I can do this. I can do this. So I always had like these little goals of like, and it's funny because I've talked to Ed Cohn about this. I had my big dreams, but it was like, no, if I keep beating myself in every meet, I'm eventually going to get there. I just need to focus on continuing to get better.
Right.
And it sounds like you kind of did that. And then it was, I like the way I think I did a similar pathway with, like, you're like, hey, I got a state record. Okay, that's cool. But like, what's the real record?
Yeah.
Like, who's in there? And I did the same thing with you. It's like every 10th month or 12th month, I'm like, when are the 308 super heavyweight list coming out again?
Right.
Where am I at? Okay, I made the top 100. Awesome. How do I get to the top 75? And then how do I get to top 50?
And speaking of like the world stage, shortly after that 700 meet I did, Gus Rethwich got me an invite to the Arnold Classic. And I was told that's where the best of the best come. And if you beat everybody there, you're the best. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily in the world, but you're the best, at that given time. amongst the best in the world that come. And so the Arnold Classic was something that pushed me too, because that being out there on that stage, I definitely didn't want to go out there and take second. My plan was to go out there and win. So that kind of fueled my fire too, to go out there and win that a few times. And then I found out how to eat correctly and get a CPAP machine and put on some tremendous amount of weight. And you got to remember, 6'2.5", I'm a real tall guy with a long bench press stroke. So I had to put on weight, and I had to really contort my lower lumbar and bend my body and try to lessen the bar travel. That was a big ticket, because do I want to push the bar, 18 inches, or do I want to push it 16? Like every inch that you can cut on your bench press stroke is like, we figured it to be like 50 pounds.
Yeah.
I realized
efficiency. I want the most efficient movement. I want to be able to use the biggest muscles that I have in the shortest movement. And it's not about how strong you are. It's about how much weight can you lift.
And then there was a point, where the bench press and big arms thing, I was like, okay, and I don't know where I was in a shirted bench, maybe 1,000. I was doing my 1,000-pound run in 2007. I remember the arms. Could never get them to 24. 22 3/4, I think, was the best on a day. And I never got the 24-inch pythons. But then I started to doubt maybe Hulk Hogan really didn't have those arms. But I saw, we were in Key West one time, and he pulled up with his family in one of those little golf carts driving around. He had that left arm up like this, and I was 20 feet away from him standing on a street corner. And those arms are 24. That motherfucker. He looked over at me with a handlebar mustache. And I kind of like bowed my chest up and stood straight up, and he just nodded down like this at me. And I was like, okay, that fucker does have big arms. And I tried to track him down to get right up there. I was going to measure him the whole 9 yards, but I never found him. But no, it was an inspiration to get big and gigantic and huge. And I found a path to do it. And I realized that eating, sleeping, supplementation technique, and the right training, if you can maximize those, and you can go pretty far. So I had to really tie myself down. You got to remember too, the equipment was evolving. That was a shocker to me. RCD and 705 bench in 1985. Then I come along in 2002 and do the 800. And I thought, well, that's 13 some years or whatever right there. Maybe this 800 will stand for 12 years. I don't know. And it was shortly after that the Rage X, Inzer Rage X shirt came out. And then in a short amount of time, 6 months, maybe a year, 30 people have done 800 pounds now. So I was like, wow, the equipment's evolving. I have to evolve with it. I can't stay behind in my denim. So I got in the Rage X. And we talked about this last week, but when we saw Gene Richlack, he wore a Phenom shirt, and he was the first man to do 900. And I was like, well, maybe that's as far as he'll go. I'll still stay in this Rage X. When he hit the 1,000, I was like, there's something there, and I got to learn this. And I don't know anything about this shirt,
He was
one of
the first guys too. I think we talked about this last week too, because like George Halbert was the first one I ever heard of that cut the back. And
I agree.
Gene was one of the first guys that pulled that fucking neck way, way down. Like you could almost see the little crease in his armpit area.
You could see it, yeah. And I don't think it was a rule yet. To how far you could pull it down and do it, but I watched his video 100 times probably, and I then when he had his shirt off, we talked about this. He had those tricep support lines around his middle of his arm, and they were straight across. They weren't at an angle towards the back of the armpit.
Right.
And I was like, well, if I put the Phenom on and wear it like that, those tricep support lines are angled, so I need to figure out how to get them straight across. And that led us to believe to pull the back of the sleeve down. And then that was a game changer. Then once we did that and got that Phenom shirt tight, it literally coming down, it was like somebody had their hands cupped underneath the back of my triceps and pushed the weight up off of me. It was the greatest feeling ever. And that bench shirt was what made me who I am today. I mean, that Phenom bench shirt had a lot of stretch in it. It was a one-time, one-use shirt. I've told that story many times, because it was so stretchy. It would just totally stretch 1.5 inches in the chest area with just touching one weight in it, full range, like 1,000-pound bench or whatever. And it was kind of useless to me. So, and I was blessed to have a sponsorship where I could order, 4 of those shirts a week, because I had one for each attempt. I had one for 950, one for 1,000, one for 1,075, and one for 1,100. And I was going through those every week.
I never wore it. I was always metal, and I could actually get a lot of benches out of I didn't wear my shirt that much, but I could get a lot of time out of those metal bench shirts.
Right.
And when they went, you knew they went.
Right.
But I had one of my guys that went into the Phenom, and it was like, dude, that thing's done already. Like, how is it done already? Like, you just got it.
Yeah, I remember when I first got it. Like I said, I put it on, and having that rigid Rage X, that would put the brakes on you an inch from touching, and it was hard to touch. And I put on that Phenom, and I remember I took out like 700, and it just came down and just sunk into my body. And I remember throwing the shirt in the corner, and I was like, I gotta learn this. And it sat there for 6 months. And that's when I got on the phone. I was like, how do I mean, you got to get it super tight in the arms where it takes Walmart bags to put them up. And then you got to get it super tight in the chest, and you got to have the scoop neck, and you got to have the grid stitch and bulletproof this thing. And once you had it all dialed in, the confidence level of my to go out and compete, I had just the confidence. Just I had no fear. I wasn't going to miss. I knew this shirt. I had the technique down, and I was very comfortable. Opening with 1,000 pounds on the bench was very, very simple. I hate to say it like that, but I just knew it was nice to set up on my arch and then kind of look down towards my stomach and see my stomach, up here, because it was almost like I had a two board on my abdomen. I had such a great arch and a big belly, but I had to do what I had to do, man. It may not have been pretty to look at. I'm very monstrous when I'm 360, but I had to do what I had to do.
That confidence is because of the time you put in and the dedication and discipline. And like, I mean, you didn't build that confidence in a training session. You built it in thousands of training sessions.
Thousands. And it's constantly changing. I'm like, I mean, are we doing the right thing in training? Well, why can I go 1,000 pounds or to 1,100 on board presses 2 weeks in a row? And the third week I fall flat on my face. But that's where Louis came in, a long time ago, and changed my lifting career forever, and gave me a formula and a format on what to do. And I was a blessing in disguise, man, because what he taught me and what I gained from that was tremendous. I mean, Ryan Kennelly had got himself up to a 733 bench on his own with no help, no programming. And after I got in touch with Louis, 8 months later, I did the 800 pounds. So
right,
definitely took my my bench above and beyond, and I can't thank him enough for that. But I honestly think if I wouldn't have ever met Louis, I probably would not be who I am today. I wouldn't be the bench monster. I'd still be up here twiddling my thumbs, trying to figure out bands and chains. And, I don't know I don't know where I could have gone if I hadn't actually moved to Florida is what I did. I moved down there, tried to get away from Washington. And I'm just knowing to one day be here and next day be living in Dallas. Next day be living in Fort Myers, Florida. And I just like to up and leave. Life is short, man. So I like going on adventures,
I think I say all that. I started more with Dave Tate and Elite FTS, but he learned a lot from Louis. I still if I wouldn't have I shouldn't say ran into, because I found Dave. I searched Dave out.
Okay.
Because I knew I needed more help.
Yep.
And then as I got better, I actually got to hang out and talk with Louis. And if it wasn't for those guys and the training and rules that they had, I don't think I would have done anywhere near what I did.
And, and talking about the evolution of bench press shirts, now look at these band shirts now. I mean, you got 30 guys that have done 1,000-pound bench now. In my era, there was 3 people on this planet that could do it. Yeah. And you had to be fucking strong. You couldn't be a 405 raw bencher for one and put on a Phenom and then, bench, 1,000 pounds. I had to have a 660 raw bench. I had to have that base to get the, and I always maintain that. But nowadays, 1,000-pound bench is, I hate to say it doesn't really mean anything anymore because so many people have done it. Yeah. But 1,100 now is kind of a different level because not many people in 12 right. and where Jimmy's at 1401. My Jesus,
he's on a whole different,
whole nother. Yeah, that's unreal. I awesome bench, man.
It's funny
still
though when you
tongue ties me, man.
Oh, because I put one of those shirts on and messed around, and I was like, holy shit, this thing is springy, man. Wow.
It's springy.
And then still I go, because I had Jimmy on, that's going to be my next posted podcast is with Jimmy again. And watching his 1,400 pounds, and I know there's those stupid ass people that have never had a shirt on and don't even know. I'm like, Jimmy held that weight and it was so much it bent the first bench. They had to get a different bench.
I heard about that. Yeah.
And then he held it. Like it was in control.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it was like, it's 1,400 goddamn pounds. I don't give a shit what kind of shirt you have on. I mean, and then the mental side of like, what if something slips? What if that shirt rips? What if something tears? Like
Scary.
a lot of bad things could happen. And that's 1,400 goddamn 100 pounds. But like, just to hold it, just to hold that in your hands is more than, I don't know if there's another person on the planet that can hold it actually.
No, I don't either. And he attempted it 3 times to get it.
Yes, and it was on his third time that he got it.
Fuck, man. Yeah, one shot at that, and I don't think I could have even held it on the next one because he's got that ability. That time under tension is just unreal. He's so comfortable under the weight. It's so awesome to see. And I never thought in my whole life I'd ever see that. And I'm still looking for that 800 raw bench too. And Julius is the guy.
It's gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
It's good. It's cool. It's happening in
but
our
it's
era.
funny, because when it's that big a number, and I tried it, and I was thinking about this while you were talking earlier, like getting a 400-pound bench or getting a 500-pound bench, like there's you got a huge window that you could fuck up and still get that lift.
Right.
The bigger and bigger you get, the smaller and smaller that window gets. Like you said, you got to the 730 by yourself, but then things had to start tightening up.
Yeah, they did.
Like for Julius to hit that 800, a lot of different things got to fall into place.
They do.
Because if you get out of the groove with 400, you can muscle it.
Yeah.
With 800, it ain't gonna fucking happen.
No fucking way. Yeah, and
I do think he's gonna hit it.
Yeah, I hope he's doing well. I try to track him down and watch his videos online, and I hope he's doing well. And he's the one that's on this earth that can do it, and my money's on him, man. Yeah. It's exciting to see. Because, like I always say,
I think that's because we love the sport, though.
I do. Yeah, I love to see.
I've seen people that hate, and I was actually talking about a shot putter recently who was kind of bagging on everybody that was throwing further. Because the shot put record just went from 75. It was at 75 feet for 30 years.
Okay.
And Ryan Krauser came out, broke it with, I think, a 75 something, then went 76.
Okay.
And I'm like, the shot put record gets broken in like quarter of an inch increments.
Yeah.
He fucking just beat it by over a foot. Like, that's
insane.
Huge. 30 years. It's insane. And I'm like, it's awesome, though, because I love throwing. That's where I started. Like,
I think human beings are evolving, too. I think human beings are just getting stronger because, it's just some of the things we're seeing. And some, like you said, that shot put record. I mean, it takes a special genetically gifted individual that has all the right tricks of the trade and to go out there and has dedicated himself and has a passion for what he's doing and puts 110% in, and the results are there. And it's just exciting to see, that's a long time record to sit for a while and not be broke. So
long. I think a lot of knowledge gets passed down. And I think like we had talked one point about gear to raw, and I think it's going to go back to gear at some point. And, the guys came in raw and started beating the records that the older guys had done raw. And I think that's because every time a generation comes along, we learn more. And then
that's true.
The ones of us that really love the sport try to pass that knowledge on. So we're helping. You only have so many years to get strong.
That's true.
We're helping them get stronger faster so they have more time to go even past that. And I mean, even to the point I was thinking about the bench shirts, and you're right. Like, first of all, I remember the first meet I did raw, and then I'm like, oh, everybody's wearing these bench shirts. Like, and I trained by myself. I didn't know what the hell it was. I'm like, I got to get a bench shirt. So I called Inzer, and they told me what size. And I'm in my home gym, and I'm like, hey, Dad, can you come help me get this shirt on? And my dad's like, it's too small. I don't think this is right. And I go, no, everybody's saying it's supposed to be tight. And like, I'm getting claustrophobic in the goddamn thing. And I benched like one time, and I'm like, this is fucked up. There's something wrong. This is not right. I'm just going to go raw.
Yeah.
Because it was so horrible. But then as you think, and I remember calling guys as a new shirt came out. I'm like, hey, who's doing good? Clay Brand. I'm going to call Clay Brandenburg, see what he says, or whoever it is. And trying to pass on that knowledge. Because honestly, going from those first shirts to an open back changed.
Yes.
Going from the poly to a denim was a different shirt. I mean, I didn't get a lot of rebound out of my denim, but that thing rock solid at the bottom, and I could push off of it.
Yep.
And then you went back into this more poly, and like you had to change your technique and change your training almost a little bit with each different shirt. And that was just all this different
true.
knowledge you're continually trying to gain. And we pass all that knowledge on, and then then the lifters get better.
That's one thing I like. I mean, when I started, it took me 14 years to get to 800 pounds. And I think, having now as I'm a coach and I train 4 or 5 people, I like to think that I can make them state or world record holders in half the amount of time with the knowledge I have. Mm-hmm. So they don't have to go through this, I think the internet's a good thing and a bad thing, but I think us as seasoned lifters and as our age progresses, I mean, we got to pass this knowledge down and not take it to the grave with us. And it's fun to see it work on other people. See everything that I did to get where I'm at, and to channel it into some athletes and find their weaknesses and find their muscular imbalances and build that and see them set records. And that's exciting for me. I mean,
so let me ask you this. I think I almost get more excited for my clients than I did for myself. Like I kind of knew, like when I was going into a meet, I'm like, all right, I'm going to hit this number. Like I know it. But then when my clients do it and I see my clients get excited, like it's more emotional for me to see them do better than it was for myself almost.
I agree. One of my problems was I was, I don't want to think cocky or nothing, but back when I was in that 1,000-pound run, Rich Lack and Mendelson were trading the bench press in 2-pound increments. Like Rich Lack did 1,000, Mendelson did a 10:02. Mm-hmm. Rich Lack would do 10:5, Mendelson did 10:10. And then I just shot so far out in front with that 10:75 that when I went out to lift, I wasn't looking over my shoulder. And I don't think honestly, it didn't mean anything. I mean, it's cool. But I think if I would have had more competition at my level, knocking on my door, mm-hmm. I think. But you're right. I kind of it meant a lot, but it's more exhilarating now to see it work with beginner lifters and younger kids in their 20s and stuff now, and that's kind of the thrill, and it gets me excited. It really does to see it work on other people, because it worked for me, and it's worked for anybody that I've coached, and that's the fun part. And I think you're right. I think we just had an IPA Washington State meet here October 14th, and all my guys did really well. A lot of first time lifters. They had a lot of stage jitters and stuff, and didn't do as best as they could, but they went out there and they gave it their all on that day. And whatever they did wrong, we're in the gym now fixing it, and we're just planning for the next meet, man. And that's the thrill of this, really. And I just wish there was more people like us back in the day that would help people. And I didn't know how to find those people. You go to meets and you'd lift and you'd chit chat with your competitors, and we never really trade lifting advice. It was just bullshit, and then go out and get drunk and say, man, we'll see you at the next one. See you at the Arnold. And, we didn't really trade training advice but then again, I talked to Mendelson a lot back then, and I couldn't tell if he was bullshitting me, because he would call me up and say, I just hit 1,200 off a 2-board. I'm like, well, is there a video, or are you just telling me this? I mean, you're trying to get in my head, and then we played that game with each other. So I was like, Mendelson, how do you train? He goes, I do this. And one thing I did take away was when he told me, how to eat and get big, because those high calorie shakes, putting those in between my solid meals, and that was a game changer. I was able to really put on some size drinking 4 1,850 calorie shakes a day on top of 4 or 5 meals, and he was right on that part. But as far as training, though, I mean, I don't know if he was truthful with me at the time, but I just took it all in, and I'm like, well, maybe heavy board presses are the ticket. Maybe what he's telling, I had to decipher it and pick out all the bullshit and figure out what was the truth. But yeah, other than that, though, it was, he and I were the button heads all the way up, and it was a fun battle. Him and I back and forth in our little era back then.
See, I feel like it was a little different for me, and maybe it was kind of being on the elite FTS team, because I had so many like top lifters on a team I was with, and we all wanted everybody to do well. So it's like when I went to meets, it seemed like I would come away from meets with all these new ideas for my training.
Oh, cool.
Because before the meet, we'd be sitting in the lobby bullshitting and stuff, and it would always come around to some sort of training, and be like, hey, have you tried this? And like, yeah, I tried it, didn't work, but what about this? Or I'm like this. And when there's times where I'd call Dave up, or I remember calling Dave about kettlebells or something. And Dave's like, yeah, call Donnie. So I called Donnie up. Donnie's like, yeah, you do this and this and that. And it was like, I always kind of had this little group of people that I could go, hey, I'm stuck. What the hell do you think? Like, and just get different ideas.
In your area, you had some competition. I mean, you had Mike Cassell, Goggins, Matt Smith, all those guys were out there pushing big squats and doing what you're doing. So
yeah,
I can only imagine that.
I never got. I mean, I was doing the 3 lift bench world records.
Okay.
And I was doing some squat world records. I mean, once I got all the drug free shit, and then when I went pro and went on, it went to a whole different level, you know.
Right.
And so I was never like way ahead of anybody. I was always trying to chase the all-time total. So I always had competition. I mean, there was always people right there.
What was it like in the warm-up room in your era where when you were competing with all those guys in the back there? Was there animosity? Was there nobody talks to nobody? Nobody makes eye contact? Is there I just thought I was never a 3 lift guy, so I just wondered
for me it was actually there was 1 or 2 butt heads. You know, that were like thought they were the shit and everything else. And then everyone else, it was like we were all friends.
Really?
Like, yeah, it was. I tell people all the time, I go, powerlifting's kind of weird because it's like we all wanted to beat each other, but we wanted to beat each other at our best.
Right.
So you're not like, oh, he's hurt. Fuck that. That moves me up a place. You're like, God damn it, I wanted to beat him. Like I wanted to beat him.
At his best. Yeah. And don't make excuses. Yeah.
So it was kind of weird. And I found most people were super helpful and like,
oh, that's good to know. I mean, never asked that question to anybody.
It was really cool. And even when I get together with my old training partners, and Ethan and his family always traveled with me, it's the same thing. Like I remember Ethan, he went down. There was one night, I think we were at Detroit, and he's like, oh, I'm going to go check out the venue. And I go, all right. And he comes back like fucking 2 hours later. And I'm like, where the hell were you, man? And he's like, well, dude, I went in a warm-up room and Goggins was down there deadlifting. So he said, I talked to Goggins, and dude, Goggins showed me all this cool shit that I need to try and like talk training and like.
Oh, that's cool.
Everybody was really cool. It seemed like to me.
Yeah, Goggins. I remember his 1102 squat. I was there.
Oh my God.
I remember that. I remember I was like 40 feet from the stage, and when he came down and leaned forward, and his eyeballs looked like it was coming out of his head, and I was like, he ain't coming up from that. And that guy elevated that up, and gives me chills to talk about it. I remember
unbelievable.
I was back there.
Is so strong.
So strong. God damn. Yeah, he's a machine, man. And that was fun to witness.
That was a really cool. That was like there was a point coming up where I went, man, like people's legs are going to start snapping.
Yeah.
Like the human body can't handle this.
Right.
And then Mike so kept going up and up. And then Goggins popped out and did that 1102.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know what, Chad, because I like to talk to myself. I go, you got to stop this limited thinking of what the human body can do. There is no goddamn limit. It can do whatever we want it to do and how far we push it. You know, and then eventually I broke Mikesel's record. I think he had 1173 and I went 1174 to break his record.
Oh, damn.
And it was just like I don't ever limit yourself, man. Who knows? No. Just because it ain't been done, don't mean it can't be.
That's right. Yeah, if I would have thought like that, I would never have accomplished what I did. I never thought I couldn't do it. I mean,
honestly, look at you. Like you said it yourself. When you first started looking at all the records, it was 700-800 pounds.
Yeah.
You ended up doing damn near 11.
Yeah.
Like. That's 300 pounds heavier than at your time. Like, that's crazy to think about.
Never, ever thought that I would go that far. Never thought that I would do the things that I've done. But, just learning the equipment, learning my technique changed over time, learning how to arch better, learning how to use the whole body in the bench press and not just an upper body movement. I mean, on and on. And then it's just, it starts coming together. And then you put on 20 pounds of body weight and your bench goes up 100 pounds, It's just like, what the hell? This is all making sense now. And there's times I would sit on my computer at home and just middle of the night, just trying to find videos of people benching. Like, why is he putting his feet here? Why, when he's pressing, was he pushing in a straight line? Where is his elbows? I mean, I was always trying to find anything that I could use in my arsenal. And if somebody made 100 pounds on their bench press in 6 months. I'm trying to figure out, well, what did they do different?
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember searching and searching, always trying to get better. Still doing that, still trying to figure out how to get the most out of these band shirts and use them correctly and not break an arm. We had an individual come and break an arm in our training gym. It was a year ago. That was a horrible sight to see. Technical error. I mean, he tucked his elbows a little too extreme, and the bar was out here in no man's land.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that happen, and it was on my side, I was a side handoff guy, and it was at 900. And man, it kind of haunts you when you see stuff like that.
Yeah.
When the bones break and patella tendons go, and the noise it makes and shit. It's stuff I don't like to see or hear, man. And
you start getting into
take that risk every day.
Getting into those weights, and you're like, dude,
that's right.
This could be bad. This could be really
this could
bad.
Be. Yeah. And I've torn pecs.
Could you imagine 1,400 pounds? Like that could shatter a bone.
I'm not interested. No, 1,200. If I go up to that, I'm and I do a board press with that, I'm totally happy. So woulda, coulda, shoulda. If the band shirts would have been around in 2007, and maybe I'd be in a different place. But
I think who did Dave ask me? Somebody asked me this question. Like, if Raw was more popular when you lifted, would you have lifted Raw? I'm like, yeah. The reason I wore gear was because I want, like you said, the Arnold. You go to the Arnold in the WPO championships, like that's it. Because in those days, like when I competed at the Arnold, it's like maybe one guy was hurt or something, but literally the top 10 in the world are there competing.
Right.
Like, so you're competing with the best of the best. That's where you want to be. And all those guys wore gear. So I'm going to wear gear.
Right.
Like if that would have been a Raw, I probably would have been Raw.
Yeah.
Although my mentality is good for gear, though. I'll admit that.
Yeah. I remember thinking about that, the Raw bench and how my Raw numbers would work. And, 650, and I could train for 6 months and maybe do a 660. But over that course of 6 months, I could get 2 bench shirts that are super tight and put 100 pounds on my bench.
Yeah.
So, and I was hell bent on, I was trying to get the bench press so high that it would be unattainable for a certain amount of time. Because I thought, like I said, when I did 800, that the 705 to 800 was 12 some years. So I just wanted to get it up to where I'd be comfortable for a while and it would sit for a while. But no records are safe. They're made to be broken, and we're seeing that.
They're made to be broken. Yep.
And it's just awesome to see.
I'm just happy at this point. Every now and then I'll look it up, or somebody will send it to me, like the all-time list, and I'm like, "Whew, still in the top 10." All right.
Is that open powerlifting? Is that the go-to now? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like back when Michael Song and Herb Glossenbrenner had control of it. Those guys were legitimate people. They didn't count bullshit lifts, and
Herb was really cool. I liked Herb.
I never met the guy. No.
I never met him in person, but he would call me up and we would talk on the phone and stuff.
Yeah. And I was always that was the records that I always looked up, and it was a wild ride, but everything happened so quick. And looking back on it now, I'm glad I moved as fast as I did, because I never thought, they said, well, your powerlifting prime is 30 or something, and then we saw Chuck Vogelpool doing world records in 40 at his 40s, and then and I was like, well, maybe you can extend your prime, so I was like, I can't do it forever, I know this, and I think Schwarzenegger is the one that told me my first year at the Arnold, before he was governor, he said something under the lines of, I mentioned that what I was doing, because he'd walked by me and stopped the meet and made a speech and came back, and he was in the back there mingling afterwards, and something about, as a man, we have a window of time and take advantage of. He was telling me this, and I said, I'm in my first year at the Arnold, and I took it was 766, won it, I think in 2003 is what it was. Yeah, and he said that, I never knew what that meant, but you get in your 40s, late 40s, and everything changes, man. Recovery changes. Just the body starts to show its wear and tear, and been doing it for a long time.
I think it was Jamie Reeves, the old strongman, and I heard him at one point. He's like, "You got 10 years." He goes, "When you're competing at the top, you got 10 years to compete at the top, and then your body's just going to be like, that's it."
Yeah.
And I found that to be true. I looked up, like I've talked to a lot of people, and they're like, "Well, yeah, it was about 10 years I was competing at the high level."
Yeah.
But then I thought, I think a lot of it has to do with injuries. Like, I really think your prime in strength is about 38.
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
But it has to do with, like, can you get there without injuries? And then when you do get there, I think one of the biggest mistakes people make at the high level is they continue to train like they used to train. And I think the higher the level you get, the more recovery you need.
That's true.
Because just like we were talking right now, you made your stroke more efficient. Your technique was more efficient. Mm-hmm. You were eating better. Like, you knew how you were a top fuel fucking dragster engine.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's got to be rebuilt all the time. It's got to. If it doesn't recover, you're just going to blow yourself up. So in terms of the body, that means you're going to need a little more recovery. And as you're getting older, you need a little more recovery. But
yes, sir,
you've earned that recovery because you've built this machine. And it's not made to run 24 hours at Le Mans. It's made to do a quarter mile.
Especially, in 40s, as my age progresses, the recovery is so different. My mindset thinks I can recover in a week from, some heavy training. It takes longer now. I don't like it.
It sucks. It sucks.
Yeah. Every an extra week of recovery is like an extra week closer to my next birthday. Fuck that. I'm not getting any younger. So it sucks, man. It's so different.
Wow. How old are you? You older than me or younger than me? You're younger.
I'm 49, man.
Oh, you're younger than me. You're a couple years younger than me.
I don't like it, but I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's is what it is, and I'm trying to hang on, and I'm trying to, I don't know. I don't know if I have another competitive lift in me with my neck and my back issues, but I still show up with that mindset, because I got to train with guys that are in their 20s, and I got to, I push hard with them. If I don't push hard, I feel like they won't push hard. So I show up and I flick that switch a little bit, and I do the best I can with what I got left, man. But it's I don't know. You look back on it, I've been doing this since 1993, so it's been an up and down, left and right, and a wild roller coaster ride. But I've really enjoyed it, man. And people say, well, aren't you bitter that 30 people have benched 1,000? I said, no, I think it's awesome. I think eventually we're going to see a new bench shirt come out with the next best thing, and I don't know what it's going to be, but look at the evolution of the equipment. It's so awesome. I wish the I don't know, all lifts, excel, and we're seeing 3,000 pound squats or so. I don't know. I never say never.
I have always saw it like drag racing, and I can watch pro stock. I can watch stock.
Yeah.
My favorite is Top Fuel, but I respect all of the different categories.
Yeah.
And so I don't understand why powerlifting has always fought so much about it. Like, dude, if you're benching 600 raw, I understand 600 raw is still a goddamn solid bench. That's a good bench.
That's a good bench.
And I understand that. And I think people that know the sport understand that. Well, if you're benching 600 in one of these new band shirts, dude, you got some work to do. Like, that's not impressive.
That's one thing that's never changed is, 600 bench is still a fucking respectable bench. Yes. It was 10, 12 years ago and still is today. Mm-hmm. So it takes legitimate fucking strength to do that without equipment, with wrist wraps and a belt. I mean, you can't just you can't fake it. You can't, it's just no way around it. Yeah. You either, you can do it or you can't. And it's you don't see that too much of that. There's a handful of guys that do 600 and some do 700, but it's, I just wish,
kind of even in the evolution of the sport, I think when I first met Jimmy Cole, we were talking, and Jimmy's like, I popped onto one of his live podcasts, and he's like, "Holy shit, Chad Ikes came onto my podcast."
Yeah,
and I was like,
benching and bullshitting.
Like, you even know my name? That's awesome. And then when I had him, when we were talking on my podcast, he's like, "Dude, you did 820 pounds in that shitty ass metal shirt, and you did it after squatting 1,100 and something." And he's like, I think people that know the sport and enjoy the sport kind of understand, well, you did it in this shirt.
Right.
I mean, I know like Ted Arcidi and Anthony Clark, that shirt they benched in was not what shirts are now.
No.
So, I mean, when people compare that shit, it baffles me because I'm like, it was a different time. The best of the best will always find a way to be the best of the best. It doesn't matter what generation it's in.
Yeah, and those guys were strong. Capessiore, Clark, Lane. They weren't fucking, 405 for a single. They were 7 or mid 6 raw benchers easily, because the equipment didn't have that carryover like it does today.
As much as it does now.
And that's what impresses me is that you had to be strong, and you can't fake strong. You have to either have it or you don't, man. During my era, like I said, I had to bench a 6 to 640 to maintain that raw strength, to have that ability to get that weight started out of the bottom. You had to be strong down there, because the shirt worked, but
you still had to have the back and the triceps,
that fucking power. Yes. And it was always impressive too, is the ability to do that in a warm up situation at a meet, not the big meets, because it intimidated people. I would always make an effort as warming up to go to 585 for a single, and I'd throw it up like 135. And a lot of the guys I was competing against saw that and said and told me, he's like, dude, when I saw you throw that up, I was done. Because you don't even have your fucking shirt on yet, and you just threw up 585 like 135. I was mentally, you fucked me. So
it was.
Don't tell me that your weakness, because I know you're exploiting it now. So
I told this story in our first non-recorded podcast, but when I was coming up, I was doing Wabdell meets, and you were this huge fucking bencher at that time. And I remember being in the back room, and me and some of my teammates, we're sitting there, and you did 500, and you just cranked them out.
Yeah.
And so to bust your balls, my guys are like, well, you didn't pause those. And then
I
you
remember
went up to 585 or 600. And I swear to God, maybe I'm making it up, but I swear to God, you paused it, looked at him, and then slammed it up.
I probably did.
And you sat up what about that? And we were just laughing. We're just holy shit.
Yeah, no, I didn't take that.
Fucking strong.
And stuff like that, I didn't take it as disrespect. It's impressive. I put myself in their shoes, and I'm watching, and I'm putting up 500 for 135, and I'm like, okay, you like that? Well, let's watch this one, God, I miss that strength, man, that raw strength.
I think you were actually one of the guys too, where there was some guys that you're like, dude, what could that guy do without that fucking shirt?
Right.
But you were always one of those guys who are like, no, that motherfucker's strong as shit, no matter what, man.
Yeah, that strength has kind of left my body. I don't know if it's just the wear and tear just over the years, but man, I miss that. Some of the things I did in training in 2003 and 4 and 5, some floor presses with 200 pounds in chain and 500 bar weight. Those are the records, and I have videos of them, and I was just like, man, can I be that strong again? God, to be youthful again, man, it would be fun to go back and just relive that and make another run at it in a different life, I guess.
I don't know. I look at it in both ends of the spectrum. There was a time where I was just stupid strong. Just dumb ass stupid strong. I would be out driving around in the desert, and I'm like, hey, I want to put that rock in my yard. Just pick up this huge ass fucking boulder and throw it in my truck.
Yeah.
And the shit I would do at the gym, the guys are still, they're like, what the fuck? How the fuck? There just wasn't nothing I couldn't do if I put my mind to it.
I remember, yeah.
But then I think, but I didn't fit in cars. And I was tired all the time. And I couldn't find clothes.
Nope.
At one point I was wearing 5X shirts and filling them out.
That's big.
I couldn't wear pants. Nobody made pants that would fit around. My thighs were, I think my thighs were 42.
Yeah, you just have to wear gym shorts. Just the basic. Yeah, 5XL shorts.
There was some parts of it that kind of sucked, and there were some parts that were cool. And
you just leave your shoes tied and slip into them. So
no, I would take my nieces and go, you don't know how to tie shoes. They're like, yes, I do. I'm like, no, you don't.
Go ahead, please.
Show me.
Yeah, I don't really miss that. Man, I remember. It shows its ugly face. If I let my diet go at this point, and I end up eating the McDonald's food and really, not watching what I'm eating, my body is like a dry sponge, man. I was 330. I was up to 349 back in March. I was going to a meet, and I was like, well, I got to get kind of big. There's going to be pictures taken, so I just half-assedly. It's just so easy to put on weight, so hard to lose it now. In the beginning, it was hard to put on weight. Yeah. And now it's all my body wants to do is go fucking north, dude. It just wants to go to.
Yeah. If I don't pay attention, I'll put weight on fast.
Yeah. That's the problem. I wish I had when I was 240. And I remember I was eating all these raw egg shakes and ice cream and, Totino's $1.59 pizzas and trying to gain every weight pound that I could, and now it's just like 4,000 calories of bad food, junk food, fast food, and fun foods. I mean, my body just wants to blow up, dude.
Yeah.
And yeah, then I don't know.
I agree. It was not like people like, you're so big. Like, it must have been cool because you got to eat whatever you wanted. And I'm like, no, I was eating all that. It sucked. I hated it.
Oh yeah, like a job.
Like the muscles on the side of my head got huge.
Yep.
So
you're chewing.
I would be at work and my hat would go up and down.
Yeah.
And like the guys would be watching me eat at work. And then they're like, dude, you chewed that last bite 100 times. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to eat. Like, I gotta eat.
You ever look in the mirror when you do that, and it's kind of like lumps on the side of your head?
Yes.
That muscle that pumps up when you're chewing like steak and shit. Yeah, I was like, I don't want my head to look like Mendelssohn's. Like, I gotta slow down here. I don't want these fucking lumps growing out the side, but that's when you're fucking eating. Like, I never, did 5 pounds of red meat a day. I did 2 New York steaks a day for a while, and that was, I don't know, those were like 12 ounces. So, 24 ounces of red meat, and, a lot of white potatoes, a lot of chocolate cream pie, and Gainer shakes. And like I was telling you, I'd walk around town with my spaghetti strapped tank top, 356, just fucking bloat city. Walk into any restaurant, Burger King, and tell them I want the employee discount, then I would get it. They didn't say no.
I gotta try that employee discount thing.
Yeah, I just place your order and say, yeah, employee discount, and tell them you work at the one, 30 miles from where they're at, and 9 times out of 10 they were giving it to me. It's like I told you the last time I did it was when the 135-pound manager guy. When I walked in and I said employee discount, and I grunt when I said employee discount, kind of like that, and my eyes are half shut because I'm so fucking bloated. And he grabbed those poor keys out of his pocket, and they were jingling like bells. And he was shaking when he put the key in the register, and he says, "I'm going to give you the manager discount." And it was like $2.09 for a $9 meal. And I never did it again. I always tell that story. I'm not a bully or nothing, but I got to eat, man. I can't fucking buy food all the time. I need employee discounts. The Burger King was a place to go, man. Every time I went in there, they thought I worked at the one an hour and a half from there. So they didn't ever ask me for a employee code or anything. They just said, $3, sir. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like you hear those people that go, I just can't gain weight. I just can't gain weight.
Yeah.
And I just want to go, do you think it was easy for me to gain weight? Do you think I worked my ass off to gain weight?
Oh, there's times when I was eating and I was gagging. It was wanting to come up and you're still forcing it down. Mm-hmm. And you're eating when you're not even hungry.
Yeah.
It's just like an hour and a half went by. I got to eat something. Mm-hmm. Maybe a shake, maybe let's go get it. I found out when I can't get anything down, like McDonald's is always a go-to, like chicken nuggets, Big Macs. I could always get those down no matter how full I was. Like my brain just loved that stuff, and it's totally horrible for you. But
absolutely
it's
for you.
Especially when they got like 2 Big Macs for $5. And fuck.
Yeah,
it's hard to turn that down. So, but yeah, that was then. This is now. Now we got to take care of our insides and our cholesterol and all that stuff. But when you're 27, you're invincible, and who cares about high cholesterol? I mean, you're not going to keel over at 27.
Yeah,
but,
you got plenty of time to read through, fix all that
fix
shit
things
later on.
Yeah.
So, how do you think? I mean, from when we lifted to now, how do you think the sport's changed? Do you feel like it's changed?
I know it's stupid to say. I just think human beings are getting stronger. Not every human being, but I think there's a certain, like the Jimmy Kolbs and the Julius Maddoxes. I mean, there's probably more people like that are just in weird gyms and corners of states. The guys in there and that are doing things that just need to be picked out and then trained correctly. I think they exist everywhere.
Well, so do you think they're getting stronger, or do you think now they just see this avenue? Like back in our day, because I grew up in the Midwest, and I'm like, dude, there's some strong goddamn farm boys out there.
Right.
But they don't know about powerlifting. They don't care about powerlifting. They don't think you can make money at a powerlifter. They got a job to do. But now I think those same guys are going, wait a minute, I can be strong as shit and make money off social media. Yeah,
I don't think the drugs have changed per se. I just think that as society, and I think it's genetic modification. I think you take a strong, woman and a strong man, and both have great genetics, and you breed, a hybrid human. And
it worked for farm animals.
It's working. Yeah. I mean, you look at the NFL, years ago, defensive line average size was 275, 280. Now you got guys over 300 pounds now. So
yeah,
I
if you're
just
not 6'4" or 6'5" and
no,
over 300 pounds, like
yeah,
they're not even going to look at you.
not look at you.
Yeah.
No, but and the equipment's
and
evolved.
still running 4.9s, 5s, shit like that.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
So it's like we're getting better, and I don't know if it's genetics. I like to think that plays a factor, because you breed Pee Wee Herman and Tinkerbell. I mean, you're not going to produce an elite athlete. So I just think
what about the factor? Because like you said, when we were kids, it's like, well, I need to bench more. If I bench every day, I'm going to get strong.
Right.
But now a kid in that situation didn't have to fight for information like I did. He can get on the internet. And,
that's right.
Dude, I like Ryan Kennelly. That dude's a badass. He's telling me not to do that. Okay, well, I shouldn't do that. So
that's a benefit
just put
too,
him way ahead of where we were,
That's true. Yeah, because there was no internet, nobody helping us back then. And I remember trying to figure it out on my own, and I wasted a lot of time, a lot of trial and error. So I think now you can get a hold of Josh Bryant and get a program. You can get a hold of 5231 and Cube and Windler and in that Boris Russian program. And I think all programs work, and you just pick the one and you put 110% into it. And if you maximize the factors of eating, sleeping, training, supplementation, technique, and genetics, you got something to work with there. You got to do it early. You can't wait. You can't just live your life until you're 30 and then I'm going to be a power lifter now. I think starting people like Hoff started when he was 15. I think there's benefits to that. I mean, but you're committing your life. I mean, it's that type of commitment in the gym is like a second job now. It's it takes a lot from you, because I had to when I was doing it, I didn't have friends. I didn't go out and party. I lived I just was a hermit. I ate, sleep, lift, trained, and thought about training all the time. Thought out, how can I get better? How can I make this lift go up and make this lift go up? Where do I need muscle at? Do I need, just constantly spinning on what do I need to do to get better? And I think if people have that mentality and share the same passion, because you got to have a team, because nobody can do this on their own. So you got to find equal-minded people that share that same passion and that are willing to do 3-man handoffs and show up and push you. I never had anybody push me, even within my crew. My handoff guy was at 800, and that was his best in a shirt, and I was at 1,000. So, and I remember telling Louie this story, but I thought, when I was doing my 1,000-pound benches, I said, I knew if I could train at Westside during that time, you guys would have had me probably 1,200. I mean, if I had that type of environment and that type of push, I think I could have gone a lot further. But I had to push myself.
Yeah.
But I may be wrong. Maybe I couldn't have put up with the people there, and they got under my skin, and I threw them against the wall. I don't know.
I think
I think the drive of, would have definitely took me further.
I think and I try to do this with my young people, I think there's an evolution that you have to go through. When you're young, you can beat the crap out of yourself. You can train hard. You're going to be fine.
That's right.
But like I said earlier, the stronger you get, the older you get, the more time off you need. True. And I think a lot of people, and this is going to be a hard debate, and I get a lot of kickback on this. There's a point where it's like you need hobbies away from powerlifting.
Yeah.
Because you can't train every day. No. I mean, or you could train 20 minutes, maybe you do recovery sessions or mobility sessions, but you need days to get the hell away from it.
True.
I see so many top guys, and it's hard because they're putting up huge numbers. So you're like, man, how can I criticize what they're doing? They're fucking awesome. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I was there and I know what I did wrong. I did too much.
Yeah.
I should have backed off more. I should have let my body recover more. And I'm trying to push to the limit of that now. And with my clients that I have now, I'm pushing the limit. But I mean, so yeah, I think there is that point of you need all this dedication, but then there's a point where you've gotten so good that you've earned having a little more time for your family. You've earned having a little more time for your hobbies, and you actually need it. That's actually what's going to make you better.
Yeah. That breakaway from living and thinking it all the time any obsession is unhealthy. So I definitely had other hobbies and other things that interested me. And I always, I'm not saying it kept me occupied, but you can't live, breathe, eat and sleep at 24/7, and it's going to drive you crazy eventually. So having little things to break away and especially as we get older now, I'm finding that, like you said, the recovery and having to take, sometimes I just take off a week from benching. I still go in and do my bodybuilder bicep stuff, but just sometimes it just seems like my CNS just can't recover fast enough at my age. And like I say, I got the mentality of a 27-year-old, but the body of a 40-plus-year-old. So it's just, you got to know when.
I think you're not calculating how good you are.
I was or are.
You're not. Like, you're so good. Even I'll bet when you go in and do curls, you have such a great mind-muscle connection.
I do.
And like, you can get so much out of your body, so much more than most people. And if you have the ability to do that, that means you're pushing your body further and you need more recovery.
That's true.
I would challenge you to take a complete week off. I'm about ready to walking and see what happens when you come back.
Oh, you'll come back stronger. It happens time and time again with my crew. They leave on a vacation for a week, go down, drink beers in Cancun. They come back and they hit a 20-pound PR, and I'm not hitting a PR, so that tells me a lot. But a lot of the things I do, it's just to get a rise out of people in society. Like I love wearing these shirts that are the necks cut off, sleeves cut off. And I love going to Costco and pushing the cart and squeezing that fucking handle. So every vein and fucking fiberless fucking tricep fibers sticking out. And the stink eye that I get from society, it's confusing because they don't know whether I'm a football player, fucking mafia hitman, or UFC fucking fighter. But Walmart is another place too, because there's all kinds of people that shop at Walmart.
Oh, Walmart's
I love the compliments I get. One old guy walked up to me and he goes, "You fucking scare me to death." He told me that was the last thing I heard at Walmart. And I go, "Thank you, sir."
That's funny. I was at Walmart one time and these two kids are like, I keep turning around and I keep seeing these two young men behind me.
Yep.
And eventually I'm like, "What the fuck?" And they go, "Excuse me, sir." And I'm like,
"Yeah."
"Me?" They're like, "Yeah." Like, you're huge. Do you lift? How much do you lift?
Yeah. How much do you bench? How big are your arms? How much do you deadlift? I get that all the time too. But like I said, Walmart's, I get my best compliments. One guy told me, he goes, "I bet when you go to the beach, no one kicks sand in your face." They don't.
That had to be an older guy who remembers those.
It was. Oh God. Yeah. So, some of the things, man. It's just, it's always enjoyable. So that's why I do biceps the way I do. And I train my biceps like I'm going to some bodybuilding show. But I just always, I don't want my arms to be small. So,
they do curl competitions.
We tried that for a half second, standing up against a wall with the easy curl bar. And
I haven't.
I about ripped my bicep. I had a plate and a quarter on there and I did a strict curl with it. I just remember, like, I think I'm going to rip my bicep. I'm done. This ain't my game. So,
yeah.
But people are doing that, are curling some sane weight, man. But you got to train it. Yeah. You can't just go out there and I'm going to do it today and be a champion. Else. Yeah, I don't want to put the time in for that.
Yeah.
I like the momentum and the programming I got and the coaching that I'm doing. I really enjoy it. And it gives me a reason to go to the gym because if I don't have a reason, I always tell people, I will always find a reason to go to the gym. If it's to better my arms, better my legs, get more vascular, lose my stomach and get a 4-pack, bulk up and do some board presses. And I always find a reason to go in and lift weights. I mean, I really enjoy it. If I did enjoy it, I wouldn't be doing it for 20 plus years now. So,
yeah,
but I don't walk in the gym and like, oh, I don't want to be here. I walk in there and my demeanor changes because I don't like people that play on their fucking cell phones at the gym and sit on equipment. So depending on where my hormone levels are, I mean, I'm known to be an asshole, but if you're sitting on the bench and I walk behind you and you're text messaging, I don't give a fuck if you're texting your coach. You put the fucking phone in your car and come in here fucking train. It's one of my pet peeves. I don't bring my phone to the gym. I did it once and I stuck it on the counter at this other gym. And every time I got a text message, I was instinctively over there reading it. And I was like, fuck this. And then I didn't have when my text messages would go off, you could read it. Mm-hmm. So I had it face up on the counter. And I remember this fucking doofus asshole fucking Mirqueer was up there at the counter and my phone went off and I looked over and he's reading my fucking text message. And I walked up behind him and I was gonna fucking right from behind knock the fucker in the face. I don't know why I didn't do it, but it was the last time I brought my fucking phone. So I don't. Nobody brings their phones. Well, there is a few people, but I don't have no respect for them. If they want to play on their phone in between while we're loading weights, and they're not unloading weights and stuff, then whatever. But I just prefer we show up and train and play on our phones later. So
I have a hard time with that because I have online clients.
Right.
And I'm like, I need to see videos. I need to make sure you're doing every exercise right. I go, but I don't need the fucking looks good on social media. I need the angles that I need to see if you're doing it right. And then so like some of them train at like commercial gyms, and I'm like, how much shit are they going to get? But anybody who's halfway smart should look at the angles and go, oh, this guy's doing it to check technique or something because he's not looking for the social media best angle.
I did online
but honestly, even that, like I agree with you. When you're training, if you're thinking about trying to video and shit, you're not thinking. I think you should be able to have that ability to shift your focus in and out. But that's hard to do. I would rather have them just focus on training. But I'm like, I need to see the videos.
That's right. To check their technique.
That's one of my whole online. I still think. Even if I had somebody that lived near you. And they're like, hey, would you online train me? I'd probably be like, I can. But if I was you, I would just go train with Ryan.
Yeah, I'm closer. Yeah.
Instead of paying me, pay Ryan. And Ryan's there with you all the time. Like
that helps.
It's better than online.
That's what I prefer. Yeah, because I used to do the same thing and get videos. And I'd say I need this angle. And then, and it works. But I've never, I had to separate my job from the gym, and I think back then I was competing. Mm-hmm. This was years and years ago, but I can't do both. I can't coach on cell phone and deal with people. I have to that's my home thing. That's what I do these hours to these hours. Right. But in the gym, that's my time, my crew, and that's I don't like any distractions. So, but I'm sure you had a pretty good clientele base probably, and I know. When you're that busy, you have to fucking be there, and you're constantly getting questions from your clients and stuff, and that's a big responsibility, and they're paying you, so you're obligated to be there. I understand, but I had a bad experience with a guy I trained in Seattle, and long story short, I wrote him his program, and he would do Facebook Live posts, and I had one guy that I trained with in my gym who moved up there and trained with him. And I'd pop on the internet and I'd see, well, he's not doing the chains today. He's using bands and he's maxing out. It's supposed to be a speed day. So I called him up and I said, dude, it's speed day. What the fuck are you doing maxing out? And he's like, oh, long story short, he made zero progress. And I don't know. This is like word of mouth, internet things I don't need. I don't need him going, oh, I did Kennelly's program. It didn't work. No, dude, you're doing the wrong things on the wrong day. And I gave him half his money back because I didn't want that type of exposure of somebody who didn't listen and made zero progress. And that's kind of now that when I take on people, I have to make sure that they're going to put 110% into it. They're not going home doing meth, alcohol. I don't know what people do at home. They could tell me they're living a clean lifestyle. They could be, staying up all night and partying and lying to me. I don't know. But if you're going to pay me and I'm going to put this time and effort into you, I would think you'd want to get the best out of what you're paying for.
You would.
So why you would just want to throw your money out the window? It's fine with me, but I like people that get results and listen and follow to a T what I prescribe them, and then it makes me feel good as a coach. So now I prefer to have it one-on-one in person, and then still I don't follow these guys home, and I don't know what they do, but I monitor their training and their progression, and that makes it fun. I'm just in a real bad spot, in Washington State. I'm not in Seattle. I'm not in a major city. So anybody that has to come here has to travel by plane and then drive for 2 or 3 hours to get here, the type of thing. So kind of in the middle of nowhere. If I was in some bigger, LA, Vegas, Hawaii, I think that'd be a game changer, and it'd be more enjoyable probably. But kind of out here all by myself in Washington, and I do the best I can and try to give back the best I can, and I enjoy doing so, making people stronger and bettering their strength and physical goals that they're after. So,
and I think that's the best. I think that's how a coach should be.
Yeah,
like I want you to do good. I expect you to do good. Yes, right. I've lectured my clients. I'm like, yeah, I make a living. This is my living.
Right.
But I would rather have you go train with somebody else than to train with me and not get better. That's what I want you to do. I want you to get better. Yeah, you're paying me, but I deep down, more than anything, I want you to get better.
Right. Yeah. And I think they do. It's just, I don't know. I'm not in their shoes. So I don't know. You need to take advantage of it, especially somebody's like yourself with your history of powerlifting and myself. I mean, you're getting the best the money can buy, us.
Years and years of experience.
Years and years. And if you would have, hopefully you're going to take that and run with it and do something and positive and continue to do so. If this is your passion, some people, do this for 6 months out of the year and take 6 months off. Some people do that. I'm winter, spring, summer, fall. I just never quit. But like you said, one of the best things that you said was taking that week off. Every once in a while, it's just, I feel like I need and just walk. You know how crazy I'd probably go if I took Monday through Monday off and not go to the gym? I would fucking like have panic attacks. Like I'm doing something wrong in life. I've never done that. It's like if I'm in jail, dead, or in a hospital, yeah. But just to say I'm taking a week off from the gym, I can just 3 days into it. I'd be going to the fucking bathroom, flexing my bicep. I'm shrinking off to the gym, but I know I would. Anytime if I saw myself getting smaller, it's that like kind of like bigorexia a little bit. I always say, I don't want to get down to 275 because I'll get picked on. That's a small person, but that's still a big person in society.
I do that now. I got people come in and are like, "You're big." I go, "I'm big. I'm tiny. Like I'm only 330 pounds. What do you mean I'm big?" And they're like, "You're fucked up, dude."
Yeah, you fucked up. I hear that too. So I like to stay at 300. I just feel comfortable there, and it's bigger than your average Joe, and it attracts the stink eye from society, and I like that. I don't. I've been seeing it for so long. A lot of it's just I enjoy the way people stare, and because you don't see people big. I mean, they're far few in between up here, and I'm like kind of like Bigfoot. So I enjoy just being just a monster and walking around. But I'm the nicest guy. I mean, I'm sure I look unapproachable to society, but people walk up and talk to me, and if you're not trying to insult me or push my buttons, we can chat. But sometimes I get people that want to come up and kind of around a way, just backhanded compliments and insinuate drug use and if I was on a cycle I'd be that big dude or whatever, dude.
Such a crock of shit.
Yeah.
So what's your go-to tricep exercise?
It's the rolling dumbbells. Live and die by them.
I really only asked this question again because he said it in the last interview.
Yeah.
And that's my go-to exercise. Like I tell everybody, I go, if you have one tricep exercise, dumbbell rollback extensions.
And Louis told me that exercise will thicken the ligaments and tendons that run underneath the elbow here. And I never and that's 99.9% of the time where my guys get injured is when they do the rolling dumbbells and they do them too strict without the elbow moving and or they come down like we did rolling dumbbells on the floor. They come down and they relax on the floor and then regrip the handle and try to fire it.
Right.
Once they do shit like that and they irritate those tendons under the elbow, hurt forever. I mean, it's really, and I see it time and time again, even rolling dumbbells in the flat bench, they'll roll them back. The dumbbell will hit their upper delt. They'll relax somewhat, re-squeeze and try to fire. Yeah. And that just strains that area into there. So I
think one of the big things, like you just said about the elbow, and that's part of the key of that movement is hitting the lat tricep, which is the pattern. It's a muscle pattern you're building for your bench too. And a lot of people like they try to do skull crushers or something, and they don't really work that whole lat to tricep connection.
That's right. And I have to constantly watch my guys because they get sloppy and once they get irritated there, then it hurts all the time. And we never let up on it. We're always doing some type of palms facing tricep extension, palms facing away, bands, chains, fat grips, on and on. But rolling dumbbells on the floor, incline, decline, flat bench, that's my bread and butter.
I think there was months where I would do them every week.
Every week?
Yeah.
I
did a ton of dumbbell tricep extensions.
Yeah, Louis told me you could do the same tricep extension. This is in 2001 for 2 workouts in a row or 2 weeks in a row or something. So I always did them 2 weeks in a row and switched.
Right.
And I was also doing the max effort movement 2 weeks in a row, making sure I try to one up it. If it's a floor press, 505, 200 chain. The next week I did 515, 200 chain, and just rotating those exercises was just, but yeah, tricep extension. I mean, I could say board presses, but I want to give credit where credit is due, because it was those rolling dumbbells that Louis showed me. And I just love those things, man. And they just blow up your arms. And especially when you superset them with like push downs. If you can do a set of 10 rolling dumbbells on the flat bench, stand up and do a banded push down on the on the cables, that's a fun one. It's like supersetting and stuff too. You always
try that. I haven't done that.
Always
try that supersetting.
Oh, that's a bitch. Yeah. The problem is 9 times out of 10 in our gym, you'll do a rolling dumbbell, and if you don't have your guy over there,
somebody's
got
on
some
that machine.
retard over there, cell phone in one hand, and then get the fuck out of here. Yeah. But supersets, my guys, I used to say, well, what tricep exercises should we do? I'm open. And I'm like, okay, what triceps do you guys not want to do? Oh, I don't want to do rolling dumbbells. We're doing rolling dumbbells. I love that one. They know it now. I can't even use that anymore because they know. They don't tell me what they don't want to do. So I just pick things that are awkward, hard, and not an ego lift. Yeah. One of the favorite ones that we found was taking the deadlift straps on the Smith machine, putting a bench in there and setting the bar behind your head and gripping those deadlift straps right behind your head and having to squeeze them super tight and extend upwards.
So you're using the deadlift strap. You're actually holding as a handle strap. Yeah.
So you have to squeeze that fucker. So I always say squeeze the bar. That's what activates the triceps. Yeah. It's that motherfucker. Yeah. You're forced to fucking squeeze those straps tight. Then that activates all the muscles up the arm. I really like that one. We've been doing that lately. And I've nicknamed them because on my YouTube show, there's a guy by the name of Howard Weingarten, and he showed those I always ask for videos to people to submit so I can put them on the show. And we saw those. So we call them Weingarten extensions now. So I always nickname my triceps. We got 40 some tricep exercises, from pineapples to Laura Phelps had a tricep one where she was doing all chains on the floor, tricep extensions. So we call those Laura extensions now. We put all the chains on the bar and we lay flat on the ground. Always looking for new and different ways to train those triceps. Never sticking to, if my guys, not all my guys, but they had it their way, they do the main movement on a max effort night and do push downs and go home. So push downs are never an assistance exercise. It's always the last thing we do to walk out the door, just to further peter out the triceps.
Right.
And usually 3 sets till failure. I want to make sure when they walk out of there, their triceps are done. And usually that's where the push downs come in at the very end.
What's your go-to upper back exercise?
Like inverted pec deck. I like to do face pulls with the rope. The inverted pec deck, I really like that. Instead of doing your pec work, you face it the other way and do that. But the face pulls, Louis taught me those back in the day with using a rope or a belt strap and doing them to your face for 10, to your forehead for 10, and then above your head for 10. So 30 reps. And really like those.
Yeah,
because
I love face pulls.
A lot of people are when you turn them sideways, they're so overdeveloped in the front.
Yes.
The front delt, with the rear delt, they're just completely flat back there, and that's where that's you bench off of that.
Yeah, I don't think people understand how important their upper back is.
They don't.
In benching.
They don't.
And then I've seen people that work it, but they don't know how to activate it in the bench.
Exactly.
And that's a great thing though, because if you get a guy. Like I love training squats. If I got a person who I know is training tons and tons of posterior chain, but then when I watch them squat, they're all quads. I'm like, oh, I'm going to put 50 pounds on this dude's squat today. Right. I didn't get him stronger. I just taught him how to use the muscles. He got strong.
That's right.
And the same thing in the bench. If you got somebody who's got a strong back, but they don't know how to use it, I'm like, dude, I'm going to look like a genius today.
Yeah, a lot of times on TikTok or social media, there'll be some buddy I saw one guy training his upper back, laying flat on a bench and then pulling the strap. And I've seen people do weird pull down variations that would hit the upper back. So always looking for different ways to train the area instead of, just having a few. Like I said, we got to have 40 tricep exercises. We can't have 10 rear delt exercises or upper back exercises. Yeah. So
I saw one the other day where they laid down on the floor underneath the rack, hooked bands to the top of the rack.
Okay.
And then did a face pull to the floor.
See?
So you're on the floor, and then you come and try to actually touch your hands on the floor.
Hard. Yeah.
And I tried those, and I'm like, oh shit, that's actually pretty good. I like that.
See, that's a new one to learn right there that we can incorporate. So always trying to get better and always trying to find new and innovative ways to train certain muscle groups.
Okay, I know you got to go soon, and so I'm going to wrap
Yeah.
this up here. But it's kind of funny because I wish I would have recorded the first one.
The first one.
We kind of covered some of the stuff.
Yeah.
But we went down a whole different path.
I told more stories.
If you're totally game, like I'd love to have you on again at some point.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. Yeah.
I think we could just talk about all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
And
I'm game.
I absolutely love when you tell stories. I'm enjoying myself. This whole conversation, I'm just totally smiling and laughing.
Yeah. I never know what's going to come out of these chops, this hole beneath my nose. So I don't know. I don't know how to control it either. I tell it like it is, man. I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm kind of raw and unfiltered sometimes, but
I love that though. I think more people in this world need to be that way.
You can love me or hate. That's why I went on Dave Tate and I did his show. I was like, I looked at all of his videos on there and I said, well, I want to be like these people.
Yeah.
I want to be different. I'm going to try something different. So I came on there and was different and kind of worked. I mean, I don't know if I pissed off more people than I think made happy, which is wrong. But when I said that hormones were addictive and psychologically addictive, and I got a lot of bad feedback posts on that, but it just made me laugh because
but it's
90%,
it's true.
98% of the people that were bitching are ones that have that small man complex and never can come off, and they have to stay on because they're the fear of coming off and being Clark Kent instead of Superman. I mean, that's all these people are. So yeah, sorry I hit a nerve with you wannabes, but
it's kind of like we used to. There was a few guys when I still trained at the gym. There'd be a few guys that you would only see in the gym when they were on.
Yep.
And when they were off, they wouldn't come to the gym at all.
I have one of those.
And you're like, dude, you can still come to the gym even if you're like, do you love lifting or not? Like, what is the deal here?
Got the same guy. He'll come in 12 weeks out, do a meet, not see him till 12 weeks out from the next meet, and just jacks up. I mean, I called that. I used to live in a town called Moses Lake, Washington, and I never saw it until I was there. And we'd have a crew of 8 people, and we'd lose half of them when it was over because they had to come off. And I called it the Moses Lake mentality, and it still exists. The guy that comes down from there drives an hour to train with us. He's going to be coming back about 10 or 12 weeks out, jacked up, do a meet, and we won't see him again until the next one. So
that's crazy.
But the real warriors are the ones that are there every day, on, off, hurt, not hurt. I mean, still showing up and fighting the battle, man. Yeah, it's it's a fire that burns inside me, and I enjoy it.
This is why we got to do another podcast. I'm trying to end it. I'm trying to end it, and we still keep talking.
Yeah, I'm rambling.
All right.
Yeah, there's so many. Yeah. So, anytime, man. Hit me up. We can do it whenever.
What's your YouTube channel?
It's Bench Monster TV. It's on. I think if you just type in that, it'll take you to my channel, and if you'll see the next upcoming one. We do it Thursday nights, 7 p.m. West Coast time. It's just basically, lifters submit their videos to me. I put them on the show. We compliment them. We don't bash people. We don't talk steroids. We don't talk politics. We keep it light. We keep it fun and PG and we have guests on there too, and love to have you on there sometime.
Anytime.
Real basic questions, man. I mean, nothing. Who got you started in powerlifting? Yeah. Do you use pre-workout? Just basic stuff, and let people know who you are, what you've done, and we just haven't had a guest in a long time because I just. I feel guilty, bothering people. People have lives, during COVID and a little bit after COVID, nobody had a life.
Yeah.
Everybody was home, but now, it's, people are just kind of, and I just like, hey, can you set up some time to come to our show for an hour and a half on Thursday night? And a lot of people live out east. And so when it's 7 o'clock here, it's 10. Yeah. And I don't know. So, but we've had quite a few lifters on and
I don't know. I find most of the people that I've had, they're kind of like me and you. Like, we love this shit.
Yeah.
Like, I love talking about it. If this podcast ever actually makes me a living, that'd be the greatest job in the world. Like, I get to talk about the shit I love. This is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, the YouTube channel, I'm not Joe Rogan by any means, but I make a couple $100 every 3 months. But I just enjoy. I mean, it's not me that makes the show. Yeah, I video my max effort, my speed bench workouts, and I showcase them. But everybody that watches the show, I inquire them to send me videos of something they're doing in the gym, and we showcase it, and it keeps it fun. Then we go to the chat box at the end of the show and we read everybody's messages, and it's kind of like a little family. I don't have a ton of followers and viewers, but I just enjoy it. It's something we set up during COVID. My girlfriend and myself were locked in our house, and I'm like, This is the last story I'll tell because I got to go. But I had just done a podcast like this. I'm not going to mention with who, but and this person asked me 5 questions that I would like to answer, and it was phenoms, how I got started, and then he got long story short, got on the show. First thing we're doing is we're bashing Tiny Meeker. Second, we're bashing Gene Richlack, who's passed away.
Yeah.
And I'm just like tongue-tied live on the fucking air, and then they're like, "Come on, Kennelly, you gotta agree with that. Fuck Richlack, fuck." And I'm like, it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I was like, you know what? Let's have a show where it's PG, positive, and it's just, I think it'd be fun. And that's what we do. So it's
and
nothing.
There's a lot. There's so much positive to this. Like,
yeah, and try to keep it light and fun, and I think people really enjoy, because I constantly see people repost little clips of my show on Facebook, and then saying I'm giving them shout outs and stuff. And I don't have an immaculate, cool, fancy looking studio here, but this is my little basement here with my turntables and my. I have a hobby for making like hip hop music and stuff. I have like drum machines down here, synthesizers, and I just enjoy making noise down here. That's cool. Something I wanted to do.
I didn't know that about you, actually.
No, I was gonna post a video. I'm pretty good at working the records.
Yeah.
I'm not professional, but don't ask me what got me wanting to do all that. I just invested in it, and I make head nodding, just like trance music. I just all funky shit down here and just have fun. You gotta have something outside of powerlifting.
You totally do. Yeah.
It's, if I'm not powerlifting and I'm not coaching somebody online, I'm working on the show, which is powerlifting related. So I gotta have some hours where I can just like do, because this stuff starts to collect dust.
Yeah.
When I don't use it, and I'm like, God, I haven't used this for. I mean, I gotta get down here, and time's ticking, life's passing me by, and I invest all this money and I'm not using it. And I got a fishing boat on the side of my house. I took it out once last year. I got to get out and do some more fishing, man.
Yeah.
It's just making time for it, but I get so consumed in what my true love was powerlifting. But it was fishing when I just started life. I was a fisherman, so and then I got into powerlifting, and now I just enjoy going to the gym. Girlfriend wants to train 8 days a week if she could. She doesn't know when to stop. She doesn't know what a day off is. You can't get her to stay home. She works 2 jobs, comes home from, like today she only works 1 job, but she'll come home today. She can't sit down. She is so exhausted. We stay up late. We watch TV till midnight. She gets up at 5, works 2 jobs. If she sits down on the couch in like 10, it's like narcolepsy. She's like out. So we got to keep moving. She gets home. We got to get to the gym, come back. We got to go to the store, get cat food and all this shit. And yeah, it's just go. But I'm glad I found somebody that shares the same passion, and especially a girlfriend or wife. That it's hard to find people that support us in our goals and how much we want to put into this stuff. Right. And it's hard to find that significant other that is on the same page and shares the same passion. So, and she enjoys it. So it just keeps me going. And there's days like I think it was Monday night, it was 8:00, and she got home from her second job and was like, I'm not going. I didn't sleep good last night. Oh, you're gonna fucking stay? Just gets on my ass. I don't tell you what, she's fucking hitting below the belt. Oh, you want to be like so and so and just sit on? I'm like, motherfucker. So I had to go to the gym Monday night. I was like, I ain't gonna do anything. Then I get there and I kind of get in the groove, and it's just traps and forearms on Monday night, nothing crazy. But I didn't want to go, and fuck, she won't let me sit home. She makes me go to the gym. I need that. As the older I get, I'm getting lazy, man. Awesome. But yeah, let me know. We can do this anytime, man. Just hit me up.
All right.
I enjoy talking. I like telling stories and whatever you want to hear. I mean, I'm sure I can tell you. And
I like it all. I don't think we're going to ever have a problem finding shit to talk about.
From A to B, it's been fun to get where I'm at today. And I hope it continues to be fun, and we continue to see people set world records in the shot put and the anything, and see records be broken, man. And that's the exciting thing to see. And it's I don't know, it keeps my one foot going in front of the other. And I appreciate you having me, man. Cool, it's been fun.
I appreciate you I appreciate you being on.
Yeah. Okay. Like anytime you want to do it again, man, just come up with some questions and say, let's do it again. And I'll find time. I mean, is a rough day today. I'm supposed to be working on the YouTube show, getting all the videos and editing my speed bench stuff, but I'm going to go up and have some food, and we're going to go do some biceps tonight at 3:00, 3:30. And then I'll come back, work on the show. work on it tomorrow morning a little bit, and just that's how life rolls here. So
Cool.
I enjoy it. Maybe one day I'll bug you to be on my show.
Yeah,
so,
whenever, dude. I would love doing that.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, sir. So thanks for being on. Gonna have you on
welcome.
again.
Thank you, everybody.
I'll hit my little outro.
All right, buddy. Take it easy, Chad.
Thanks for listening to the Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast. For more information, please visit couragebarbell.com. Until next time.